Hi, and welcome to our inaugural monthly program. The mayor's guest today is Tim Keys, Director of Economic Development for the City of Romulus. First of all, Mayor, give us your perspective on the term Romulus Home of Opportunity.
Well, thanks, Dennis. Really where this came from is when I first came in office, we went through a visioning process, Dennis, and we had focus groups with residents, businesses, and really what we heard from our residents, from our businesses, from people in schools is that the whole hometown feel is what they loved about Romulus when we did surveying and questions, but yet also the fact that Romulus has a tremendous amount of undeveloped land that's both commercial, industrial, and residential. So we kind of heard it from our customer, or our resident, about the fact that it has huge opportunities. So we went through a process. After we went through visioning, we went to the next step, which is kind of laying out what is the Romulus brand. And when we say brand, it's really kind of your story, your feel, okay? If you think of a Nike or someone with a product brand, well, this is a community brand. So what you will see and have seen already is kind of that home of opportunity as a theme. It's a theme when Tim and I are out trying to bring in new growth, both commercial, industrial, and residential, but yet internally as well when we're communicating it. You'll see it on signs, you'll see it on cards and logos and coffee cups and others. So you want to be consistent with that message. So I think it fits. You know, we went through, we actually had an outside company take some shots at really that, you know, what is our tagline, what is the brand, and they did a lot of good research. But when we brought it in-house and had some of our own people look at it, that's really when it came together. So,
and when you think about it, Dennis, from an opportunity standpoint, we have the airport, which I think many people struggle with, but the truth be told is one of the largest economic engines in the region. I mean, based on a U of M study, it derives roughly $10.4 billion worth of economic development opportunities through this area. And you know, we have one of the largest hotel communities in the state of Michigan. We have two highways that move up and down this through this town that, as the mayor said, with all this land that's available on the north side of the airport, across the street from the literally across the street from the airport next to the hotels, there's 900 acres of vacant land that can be developed that has significant taxable opportunity in terms of revenue and jobs, but it also, the development that occurs there almost has no impact on the residents in terms of inconveniencing them because of the highways being there to move the traffic. Same with the South End development. There's roughly 800, 900 acres of land that's zoned industrial. That significant development can and is occurring there as we speak, with no significant inconvenience to the airport, or to the residents.
Right.
So the opportunity's there. We've been selling it, and we want to continue to sell that.
One of the nice parts about that area back there is it's already, the infrastructure, a lot of it was already in. In fact, it was put in quite a few years ago, so it's really, we don't have to put any more money into that, right?
Home of opportunity. The infrastructure is almost everywhere ready for development.
the other thing I would put in, Dennis, with the home of opportunity is kind of the analogy we've used internally. It's like a canvas to be painted. Mm-hmm. I mean, what I love about Romulus, our real story is that we have this opportunity. What are we going to do with it? So what we're going to hear a little bit about today with Tim here as our guest is what we have been doing, but yet what we're going to do beyond that to try to paint that canvas.
You've been taking your staff meetings on the road. What's been the perception from the businesses that you've visited, and also what's the perception or the reaction of the staff that goes into these businesses?
Sure, great question. It was different when I came into office, and of course my background being business. I brought this idea, and they said, Burcroft, why do you want to go to businesses? You're an elected position. Why do you want to go stir up activity and support in the business world? I said, well, wait a minute. Here's the way you need to think about it. If you look at Romulus and the revenue that we get, 2/3 of our taxable revenue comes from commercial and industrial. Mm-hmm. So if that is our customer, that's our target customer, and they're paying a tremendous amount of tax, why would I not want to talk to my customer and find out what's important to them? The other side of it is these businesses that have invested with bricks and mortar, and also, guess what, hire Romulus residents,
right.
We want to hear about them. We took, first couple times we did this, we went out to some businesses, and our staff was blown away. At first first they're a little uncomfortable, like, what are we doing here? And so we take our normal meeting, okay, that we would run every Tuesday morning, and we said, okay, we're going to go on the road. So we'll take our team on the road, and we'll sit inside, might be in a conference room, might be in a plant setting, whatever it may be, but we basically get to conduct our business. Now, what that's done with the commercial industrial users is they've gained a whole new level of respect for how their government works, because they're seeing us operate and ask questions and interact. And then when we conduct our meeting and finish, then we give them an opportunity to maybe do a small PowerPoint or presentation or tour of their facility. And it's amazing. I had an employee that had been 25-year employee with the city. And when he went through one of the first businesses that we did a walkthrough and a visit, they were like, I had no idea that this was going on. I've driven by this place a million times, had no idea that that was their operation. So it's just a way to bring government to its customer, its user, and it's also a way for us to better understand what the customer's needs are. And so it's gone really well. It's been fun doing that, and we continue to do it. And I think the good thing that I've heard from the businesses is that gain respect. But I've also heard from our employees that, wow, look what they're doing. You know, I'm really impressed with, especially what Tim's brought some new business here that I didn't realize they were here. I didn't realize what they do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really kind of a motivator in building some momentum for both our team and for the businesses.
And you've hit it right on the head. There's, many of our staff never get a chance to leave City Hall or their workplace. And so they know these companies by paper only. So this gives them a great opportunity to get an understanding of the scope and the breadth of the businesses we have here.
One of the things that Tim and I have enjoyed is getting some feedback. We go out on the road, and then sometimes we get issues, okay, which is all right. They might say, hey, we check into this issue with a ditch in front or a sidewalk or some other issue like that. But that's good, too, because then now we're there connected with the customer. But guess what? They also give us an opportunity to talk about other businesses that are within our community that we can possibly share some successes with and help them be a better business partner.
You know what it's also done for us is it gives them a chance, as the mayor said, to see how we operate, what we do. But it's allowed them to engage with us, which we've never had that level of engagement before. We've had a number of the businesses who have said, Westside Distributors is a great example, that they would like to do a company-wide program for their employees that actually give back to the city. You know, what kind of projects do you have that we can do to give back to the city? Michigan Pneumatic is another one, and so it's benefited us and the employees of that company.
Sure. The two that Tim just mentioned, Dennis, one, when we went to Westside, we kind of heard what they're about, and then guess what? They helped sponsor one of our Paint the Town initiatives with their employees. So that was awesome. Michigan Pneumatic Tool, we went there, next thing you know, they're a sponsor for the fireworks. So not only is it just, kind of bridging that gap of communication and relationship, but they get on board. They get on board with wanting to be part of something good in Romulus. So that's been pretty cool.
Tim, you and the mayor on Thursdays, you go out and you drop by a couple of businesses. Do they know you're coming in, or you just walk in and say hi?
We do a little bit of both. Most are pre-planned. I have my secretary set up schedules for that. Some are not. And the purpose of those meetings is it's actually taking our traveling staff meeting to just a different level. It's the mayor and I knocking on doors and letting them know who we are, what we're about, what we're interested. We want to hear what they're interested in. We want to hear the issues of the day for them, those things that they're having problems with, those things that they're successful in. It's interesting. The biggest issue we hear from all these businesses isn't issues associated with the city of Romulus. It's issues associated with the workforce. There's a significant shortage of workers for trucking, CNC, welding, all sorts of the trades positions in the manufacturing side. So from that, we've had an opportunity to engage with Michigan Workforce Development Group and SEMCA, which is Southeast Michigan Workforce Group, and actually put together some programs that we've invited the businesses in. So it's helped us try to meet some of their needs, at least give them the resources to meet their needs. But it's also helped us see what we have in this town. What are those businesses? The variety of businesses in this town, I think, would surprise most people. We have one of the largest truck hauling companies in the world in this town. We have a company that actually grows and breeds bees for the greenhouse business, and they're one of the few in the region. We have, GM Powertrain now has gone completely robotic with a $600 to $700 million investment. So some of the things that are happening that we get to see and we get a chance to talk to them about, it's very special. And we also get to hear about some of the problems that we can affect change. I mean, for example, United Road was one that they actually have people coming in from all over the country and the world to the facility here in Romulus. And they had some concerns about some of our entryways, which actually ties directly into the visioning that we had heard from all the residents. We need to do a better job along our roadways cleaning them up. And it's our job, our responsibility to try to address those issues.
A couple other things. We typically go in, if we're taking our staff on the road, or Tim and I just doing visits, we go in, we set up an appointment, as Tim said, and what I do is I kind of treat them like a new customer, assuming we don't know a lot about them, even though we may know their business. So we come in, and Dennis, we have our normal welcome packet for a new resident or new business, and so I come in and I give that to them, and it's basically just a packet of information that tells them how to get things done, where to go. It tells you about the rack. It tells you about waste management. It tells you about programming, all kinds of things. So they get a good, fresh start. We don't want to assume that they know about all these. So we leave them with that. We typically will come in with a coffee cup and a pen with our new logo and our tagline with the Home of Opportunity, just thanking them for allowing us to take some of their time. But when we're having this dialogue, when Tim and I are in businesses, it's amazing what comes up. We're also there trying to pitch and support other local business. Local business is the backbone of our community. And so when we're out there talking, we've heard businesses say, well, I need to find better places to buy fasteners or nuts or bolts or wherever it may be. And they didn't know we had a hardware downtown, Dennis.
Yeah.
They're driving to Taylor or Canton to another big box store, and Tim and I are going, wow, do you realize we have a nice auto parts and hardware downtown?
Right.
And so those come up in conversation. Another one was talking about how all their employees after work go to Waltz, to a local watering hole. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about Walters, who just reinvested a family in our community that had a place since 1943, and they're like, wow, didn't know it was here. So when we're having this conversation, we're promoting also business to business. We had a visit we went to, Michigan Pneumatic, and then so they spent a lot of money on investing and redoing their facility, and here we go to a place that has flooring and has tile and marble and others. So we connect those. The city's not involved in it, but you have now two Romulus businesses doing business. I mean, that's a good thing. So the more we can kind of be a conduit, if it's that, or as Tim said, I was amazed at the requests that came up for help with employment. I mean, I would have never guessed that was probably the biggest topic of conversation.
Right.
When I say, what can I do as mayor to help you? And they help me find good people. I was like, well, what are you looking for? And they're telling us the people that they're looking for, good paying jobs. And all we hear sometimes in the media is, job market's not real strong. Well, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of very successful businesses in Romulus who are hiring. So now, and Tim and I kind of talked about it, well, we can maybe try to be part of that conduit or set up a forum so that they can talk and find people and do that. And we've already done that on our website. We had a couple businesses that said, will you post some jobs for me? I need people. And we've helped some businesses find good people. So that one surprised me, but it was a good side benefit from just sitting down and listening to the customer.
Economic development, and everybody thinks of that as job growth. What are we bringing into the community in terms of new jobs? But the truth is there's a very significant piece to that called job retention. And these visits that we have to the businesses are part of that. I mean, how do we connect with that business, help them retain those employees they have, and help them grow as well?
Now you go out into the community and bring the Romulus story to people that have come to Romulus. Now you want to go back out and tell that story to people to get them to come to Romulus. How have you done that with your presentation going out?
Good question. What we're doing is we're trying to really be more proactive, Dennis. And so we believe, and we are totally behind it, we have some unique ability to bring benefit to business here. We have a niche. We have, as Tim said, not just this huge economic engine with the airport, we have interstates. We have the lowest operating tax millage of any city in Wayne County. So we have a lot of good things to offer. We have to tell people that story. So what we're doing actually, and one of our major initiatives this quarter that Tim is driving is to really get that message out, support local business, and then also help us bring in new business. Now, we as a government, we can make sure that all the infrastructure and things are in place that we talked about, and we can direct them to the right zoning and the right buildings. What we can't do, where we need the residents' help and the businesses' help, is we've got to support other local Romulus businesses. So what Tim and I are already scheduled to go out and do this quarter is we're going to go out and do a PowerPoint presentation internally. So we're going to go to DPW, we're going to do it at City Hall, Senior Center, we want to go talk to Rotary, we want to talk to chamber people, and we want to tell that story, tell that opportunity so that it kind of gets them behind our effort. If we're just keeping this information here at City Hall, it's not going to help us. We as a community can be only successful if our residents get behind us, if families can get behind us and shop and support those local businesses. So we're going to take it on the road. We're looking forward to it. Again, a little different, but that's our style here. We're not going to sit back. We're going to make sure we're doing everything within our power to get that message out, to tell that Romulus story, which is very appealing.
I think it's very important to let our residents know what we do have here in the community, because some people, they say, well, I've got to go here to buy a pair of gloves. When you don't, we have stores that sell things like that. We have not just downtown Romulus. We've got all over the city various stores and commercial entities, repair shops, and a good school system. I mean, we've got a total package here, but we have to get the citizens to come in and support that package, right?
There is no question. There's three initiatives that we'll be working on this quarter and actually through the rest of this year, and probably infinitum, because it's that important. I mean, the first is, how do we promote businesses to our residents? We have to keep the awareness going on. Shop Romulus. You live in Romulus, shop Romulus. Take advantage of the opportunities. Quite frankly, there's things that you can buy at our local hardware that are cheaper than Home Depot.
Correct.
You just have to look. The other thing we want to do is what we're calling B2B. Is how do we connect business to business to take advantage of each other, and that part of that ties to the visits we have. Part of it will tie to the initiative where we're going out and doing presentations, but it's going to be a big effort for us to try to convince and promote the opportunity for businesses to buy from each other. Romulus business. The third thing is that we have to obviously do the same thing we're asking everybody to do, and that is we have to buy locally if we have that opportunity. So we're going to be proposing to the council a change in our ordinance, and we're calling it the local buying preference. And so it gives us the opportunity through our purchasing because we buy everything, whether it is soap, tires, automobiles, how can we try to buy from our local vendors and let them take advantage of all the
It's kind of like the right of first refusal to deal with the city before the city deals someplace else, right?
Well, if we're going to promote it, we should actually live it ourselves.
Right, exactly.
And I guess along with that, all I'm asking the residents really to do is think about it. And when they're getting in their car and they're going to drive to Canton or to Taylor or to Westland to get something, can I get it here? I mean, if you're going to drive to a certain retail facility, if it's like you said, pair of gloves, it might be a hammer and nails or whatever it may be, hardware items. Can I get that here? And I think that what's really important also is that we have to practice what we preach. I mean, my doctors around. We have good doctors here. We have dentists. We have pharmacies. We have hardwares. We have auto parts. We have restaurants. We have, so don't sell us short. Just think about that. Before you get in your car and drive through, we ask that you get in your car and drive to Romulus. So that's all I'm asking the residents to do. And that's a win-win for all of us, Dennis.
That's our new tagline, right?
Yeah.
You got it.
It's one of them. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Tim. Join us again next month for another installment of Mayor's Corner. I'm Dennis Davidson. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.